In this video, we will talk about why it is so difficult to leave a toxic relationship. There is a lot of stigma around staying in a toxic relationship, about having a toxic relationship. We feel stupid after knowing that we stayed too long. We feel stupid for knowing that we are staying when other people have told us that we are in a toxic relationship. So there is a lot of stigma, and also there is a lot of misconceptions and misunderstanding about the concept, and there isn't that much support to get either. So I want to bring light to why it is so difficult to leave, because you might expect that when someone knows about their relationship being toxic, they will just make a decision and go ahead and just leave. That is not the case. When you find out that your relationship is toxic, when you realize the dynamics of a toxic relationship, what has been going on, that is when the hard work starts, because until that point you have just been in the dark, and now you have to bring your core wounds, your core beliefs, your triggers, you have to bring everything to the surface, and you need to understand what's going on, and you need to see your own part in why you have been allowing this, in why this has been happening to you, and you need to work on your side to prevent yourself from finding yourself in the same situation again. So first of all, why it's so difficult to leave. There are so many different reasons why it's difficult to leave, but I will point out a few of them. So first of all, we have cognitive dissonance. This is when conflicting beliefs, they meet and they create confusion. So our brain wants to have one view of the reality and just one truth, and therefore we subconsciously choose to see the good side of the abuser. So we choose to see their good side. This is not something we might consciously do, but we want to stay with them, and we invent reasons to stay, basically. So you probably know yourself how many reasons you have invented to stay with a person, although you know that deep inside they might not be true, they might not be correct, but you're trying to make a truth out of this for your own sake, to be able to not have this confusing, the confusion, the cognitive dissonance. Then we have the hormones. I will focus on oxytocin. There are more hormones, of course, but oxytocin is the love or cuddle hormone. It's released more steadily when love is spread out inconsistently. So this means that you will essentially feel more in love with your toxic partners because of their inconsistency. Many people stay in toxic relationships because they feel like they love their partner so much, and they feel like they can't live without them. This is not healthy by itself. You need to be able to feel like you can live alone. Maybe you don't want to, but you shouldn't feel like you're dying without another person. That is not healthy. So the reason is because of the hormone oxytocin. You feel like you're more in love with this person, and this is something that they are using as a strategy in the abuse cycle. They are first creating an issue and discarding you, and then they will come back as your savior to soothe your emotions. We also have trauma bonding. When we experience trauma with someone, we will form strong emotional bonds with this person. So the sad part about this is that we will not just form strong bonds with the person we experience trauma with. We will also form strong bonds and connect strongly emotionally to the abuser, because essentially we are experiencing abuse together with them. So we will be even more emotionally connected with them because we experience trauma with them. This is called trauma bonding, and this is also mentioned as Stockholm syndrome, if you have heard about it. So that also means that you are sympathizing with the abuser and taking their side. There's also an addiction going on. Some people, I've seen some comments on my YouTube channel that people say that I hate when people say that this is an addiction. I was not really addicted to my partner. He wasn't a drug. Well, I'm sorry to say, but what's going on in your body is the same thing as you were addicted to any substance use. That's what's going on inside your body, except you are addicted to a person. So what's happening is that your body is in a constant state of stress, which means high cortisol levels that will make your body crave the pleasurable moments in the abuse cycle to calm you down. So it's a dopamine fix. Your body will need to have this dopamine fix because you will be so agitated and stressed, and you will fearing that your partner might leave you. This is how they trigger. This is what happens when they trigger the abuse cycle. And then when they come back, they soothe our emotions, becoming our rescuer. And the reason why this is happening is most often because of our childhood. We probably had inconsistent parents, so they've probably been able to support us emotionally, but they might have been distant sometimes, and we might not have been relying on when they are coming home, or there have been some kind of inconsistency with their love language, which has made us becoming addicted to our parents, which we are now adapting into our adult relationships. So we have not been taught to self-regulate our emotions. We have been relying on others to soothe us, making other persons our rescuers when we are having high cortisol levels. We need a dopamine fix. We need someone else to fix us. This is how it becomes an addiction. Even though we are not aware of it, this is like biologically an addiction that's taking place inside our bodies. These are some of the reasons why it's so difficult to leave. It's not to just go get up and leave, because we need to have we need to really know that there is nothing else we could have done to create a different outcome, because that is also why we stay. We think that if I wouldn't do this or I wouldn't do that, the person will not be agitated, it won't kickstart the abuse cycle again, and everything will be good at some point. Eventually, we will accept that things will not change, and we want to have another life, another situation, and we don't have anything more to give. And that, when we don't have anything more to give and we just feel drained, that is usually when most people leave, unfortunately. But I hope this was bringing some clarity to why it's so difficult to leave, because there is a lot of stigma around this topic. And just remember that you don't have to explain your life or your life choices to anyone. You just need to take responsibility for your life, and everything needs to happen in the time that you want it to happen. It's your life and your process.